I always wanted to be a comic since I was a kid. I couldn't draw, no matter how many Conans I did, and that was part of the beginning of the podcast.
What's happening? I'm Marc Maron. This is my podcast.
You know, we've all been able to live our dreams as, mediocre radio personalities on our own terms.
I'm clearly dealing with grief and sadness by, overcompensating with anger and funny.
If you don't like my tone, it's a character I'm working on. It's called Me Half the Time.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we're so happy to have with us here today the director of a fantastic, emotional, and quite funny documentary. It's called Are We Good? And I have director Stephen Feinartz here with me. Stephen, why was Marc Maron the perfect guy to tell the story of here?
I think Marc is just a fascinating guy. His stand-up alone is amazing, and then on top of that, you got the podcast, which reached all these people. But we didn't really want to do a documentary that just told his life story, because that's been done before, and so this time in his life felt like the right sort of access point into telling an honest and sort of vulnerable story.
I agree with you, especially on the vulnerability part. I've never seen him or looked at him as like a vulnerable figure.
Yeah,
this really does paint it in the light that he is much like every other human being on this planet. He's human, and the way that he formulates his grief is absolutely gorgeous in this. He funnels it through things like the podcast, through things like his comedy, through things like self-depreciation, which we can all sort of adjust to or attach ourselves to. How important was getting that across?
Yeah, it was super important. He, like you said, he's not. You don't think of him as vulnerable. He puts up kind of a hard shell on his podcast. Kind of a cool guy. We poke holes in that a little bit in the film, but I think it was important because I always knew that side of Marc, and I think his real dedicated listeners have always known that there's a vulnerability there, and I felt like it hasn't been really shown to a bigger audience in that way, and I thought it's not every day you see a 60-year-old man pouring his heart and soul out to people like that in a way that's so so honest. So it felt like it maybe could help people as well see that.
This also does a really good job of showing the evolution of him as a man, and I think it's, as you said, it's not often we see a 60-year-old spreading his wings still.
Yeah,
but I think you did such a fantastic job. When you were pitching this to Marc, what did you say?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, it's a long time ago. I think it was early 21 or late 2020. I was approached by Julie Seabaugh, one of our producers, and we went to Marc, and we just pitched him on the idea of seeing what it felt like to follow him around with the camera and see if we could tell the story of him, dealing with this difficult time in his life, and if he was open to it, we'd be full of, be total trust and respect and everything, and it was all there, and he was apprehensive at first, and so was I. I didn't know if I wanted to do a documentary, about somebody who was going through an immense loss. You have to ride that line of what's tasteful, what's considered exploitative, and what's okay. So it was a tricky balance. The first few months were really raw, and a lot of that is what's in the first act of the film, and you see a lot of emotion there. But that was also us just kind of getting comfortable with each other, and it was it was pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, it's truly powerful. The world lost a good one when Lynn Shelton passed away. We were talking literally only a few months after she passed about Laggies on our podcast, because none of my crew members had seen it. But I love that film personally, and it was just to see how hard it hit a guy that's got a Ninja Turtle shell and around him constantly is just it breaks your heart right at the beginning of the movie, and I know that was probably hard for you to navigate. But so I mean, amazing job by you to get those authenticity out of him. It was beautiful.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I was just gonna say Lynn was an incredible filmmaker in her own right, and she did do 2 of Marc's specials as well before she passed. We try to tell her story with total respect and everything. Yep.
And I think you honestly did that. It's such a, like you said, there's such a line to ride, and I think you did a great job of writing it and not going over it. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's why these documentaries like this about a person can have layers and depths, because we as people have layers and depths, and I think you discovered those and uncovered those really well. I wanted to ask you, anytime we have two guests, a new guest in front of us we've never spoken to, we have two questions we ask every single one of them. The first one's real simple.
Okay.
Who are some people that inspire you, whether that be personally or professionally?
Oh, that's a good one. That inspire me personally and professionally. Well, I gotta say, well, this is gonna be pretty corny, but though, in terms of artists that have inspired me, I go to like musicians. I'm so hooked on like Leonard Cohen and Bob Dylan and Neil Young. I mean, that's just I'm a bit of an obsessive in that realm of like songwriters. But in terms of filmmakers, you know, for films like this, it's guys like Steve James who did Hoop Dreams, who I absolutely love his work. Obviously Pennebaker, Maisel Brothers, all the Verite masters, Les Blank, that kind of thing. But yeah, those are some of my guys, and then on the narrative side, obviously you got Werner Herzog and Spike Lee and those and Scorsese and all that, obviously.
I love it. I love it. I'm a film junkie, so I love that you mentioned all the good names, especially Steve James. You mentioned Hoop Dreams, which is
So underrated, right? I mean, he's an underrated director. My God, I mean, the guy's he puts on incredible work.
And Hoop Dreams is one of the best, not just sports documentaries ever made. It's just beautiful.
Absolutely.
TCM has it right now. You guys can watch it. It's pretty amazing.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's awesome. So it's on HBO Max.
Yeah,
just like this.
Yeah, but coming from Chicago, he was sort of like the guy. He was like the documentary guy of Chicago. So that's where I got my start. I met him once when I was in college, and I was I was in awe of his work. Very inspiring.
That means that he's the right guy to answer that question with. So I love that. The second question is a little bit harder, and I'm sorry in advance.
Sure.
You have two movies to watch for the rest of your life. What two and why?
The rest of my life. Wow, like this is a desert island kind of situation.
Sure, you could be deserted on an island, but you don't have to be.
Just put me out there. All time. Wow. Oof. I gotta say, well, one's gonna be Goodfellas, and the other one, all time. That's tough. This is a tough one. You got me. Boy, he's not a good guy, but I will say Chinatown is one of my favorites of all time.
God, me too, man. It's my favorite Polanski film. It's one of my favorite films of all time. But damn it,
Chinatown. Yeah.
Why'd you have to go
But
do that?
I'll go with Goodfellas because Polanski's not a good guy. So we're gonna go with
Well, you get two, so
all right. But I'm watching Goodfellas more.
yeah, totally fair. Totally fair. I love that. That's the right answer. Correct answer. Now, why should people check out Are We Good?
I mean, it depends. If you're a comedy fan, it seems like it's a no-brainer. Mark is in the zeitgeist, and he is as good as he's ever been. So I think just from that angle, I think check it out. But if you're not a comedy fan and you just maybe heard of Marc Maron, I think it's worth checking out because it's a character study about a really interesting person going through a profound moment in his life, and I think you see it all unfold. And I think that you can't really fake a story like this. It's like it happens organically, and we did the best we could. So I think in that realm, I think it's for most people, because most people go through grief at some point in their life, and I think watching it unfold with somebody like this, I think could help certain people and could make you laugh. I hope.
Yeah, I think there's different ways that we as humans, deal with our grief, and I think that he's chosen the path that makes the most sense for him. And I think we as the audience getting to witness him taking that path, maybe we can see a little bit of ourselves in that. And that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, I don't have much time left. Did you want to say anything else before I wrap it up?
The film's coming out October 3rd in New York and LA. Then it's doing I think 500 or so screens around the country on the 5th and the 8th of October. And then depending on how it does, hopefully we'll go a little wider than that. And then later on in the year, you'll be able to catch it at home on VOD. So just look out for Are We Good at arewegoodmarin.com.
And it is it is playing at every screen, some major screens here in Columbus, including the Gateway Film Center on October 5th. So you guys could definitely check it out. And literally like 2 weeks from now, when it comes out, make sure you check it out. Are We Good? Written by Julia, but also directed by our man, Steven Feinartz here. Steven, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. And like I said, this is one that I've been chasing since South by, since Tribeca. I've been chasing it all through the festivals, and they wouldn't give me the film. And now I finally have it, and then I finally watched it and finally got to see it, and it was as good as I hoped it would be. Thank you so much for everything, man. We really appreciate you, and you have a great rest of your day.
Appreciate you too, man. Thanks so much.